Well, if you're like many people I've talked to, you sort of are aware of this product from Adobe. You may not have actually tried it yet, and it's pretty interesting. It's called Kuler, Kuler. The website is Kuler.adobe.com, and this is what it looks like when you log in. It's basically a interactive flash-based website to help you choose colors. And one of the interesting things about it is it's kind of a community as well. So people who create their own color combinations can share those. So you can either download other people's or create your own. Now the first thing you have to do to actually do this, take full advantage of it, is to log in using an Adobe ID. If you don't have one, you can certainly get one. It's free. It just means you have to register the first time. If you already have an ID from either purchasing products or anything else from Adobe, you can use that to sign in, which I've already done. So the basic idea of this is for you to be able to experiment. So for example, if I know I want to do something with a certain color combination, here's what I do. I go to the create area, and there's various ways you can use this. You can either do it completely visually or numerically. Down at the bottom here of the original base color are different ways of identifying the color: RGB, CMYK, LAB, and so on. So if you knew a specific color, you could put it in there, or you could come up here to the color wheel and just say, I want to work with shades somewhere in this general area. And basically it's starting off with saying, okay, here's the colors that I have identified for you. Basically what you can now do is then go in and decide what other colors you want. And the nice part about this is some of the names, like monochromatic, I had a pretty good idea of what that meant as I did complementary, but I had no idea what a triad meant, or compound colors and so on. So if you just hover over it, it gives you a suggestion as to what this means. So triad, for example, says space your colors in a triangle around the wheel for a contrasting theme. So, okay, let's try that. So you click on that and it does that, and it shows you on the color wheel and also shows your colors here. Again, with the identifiers as terms of what they are in actual CMYK colors and so on. At any time you can play with these. So if you start off with something but decide you want to alter it slightly, let's go to shades just for the sake of argument and say those are the shades that I want. Actually, that looks pretty interesting to me. I think that might be interesting to use that color combination for a project in Photoshop. So here's how we take this now and make use of it in Photoshop. So I'm going to give it some name, like if I could type, I would just type in gold shades. And if I wanted to make this available to other people, I could type in kind of tags or keywords to give people if they wanted to search for it. I'm not going to go too far in this particular case. So then I go ahead and save it, which will save it to this area of the website called My Kuler. So it's where I can find the colors that I have previously created, the color combinations. You'll notice, by the way, there are also clickable areas that are popular or the newest or most highly rated. So if you want to just see what other people are creating, you can certainly go to those areas as well. And there we go. So now it's in the area called My Kuler. Here's some of the experiments I've done previously. So if this is in fact the one that I want, over here I have a couple of options, including to make changes if I want to, but all I really want to do in this case is make use of those color swatches in Photoshop. So I basically click on this download button and it will download it as an Adobe Swatch Exchange file, which can be used in Photoshop and Illustrator and InDesign, all basically the Adobe products. Now I simply have to switch to Photoshop. Now I'm using Photoshop CS3, but this works with any version of Photoshop, well, CS2 or CS3. And all I have to do is now go to my swatches palette and say I want to replace. Now I'm going to do replace. I could also just load them, but I'm going to actually replace my current swatches with the ones I just downloaded. And here they are here, so I just simply click load, and there we go. There's my colors. So now if I was working on some project, I could very quickly go through and use those colors in my color picker very easily. And of course you can make as many of these as you want, and all it requires is to have that Adobe ID so that when you sign in you can go back to use your swatches or someone else's. So if we switch back for a moment, you will see that I have access to all these different things, including, for example, the most highly rated swatches. And by the way, I'm calling them most highly rated swatches, but they're really just these color combinations, and each one you can look at and decide, That one actually looks kind of interesting. Fusion, I like the name of that one. So let's look at it. It takes over, you can see it in much bigger swatches. You can see what tags they apply to it. And if you want, you can basically download it. So very cool way to work with color using Kuler. Check it out. One of the cooler parts of Kuler is the fact that when you start playing with all these things, you just never quite know what you'll find. A photo of Dave Cross will not actually appear in Kuler. So have fun with it, enjoy experimenting and making your own colors in Kuler. I'm Dave Cross. I'll see you next time.